Okay, let's get started. So we're solving for the letter A here. So we're solving the equation. So we're trying to leave A by itself. Okay, if A was a real number, you would add with 5, and then you do square root, and then you would add 7. Okay, so you'd probably add 5, then do the square root, and then you would add 7. Okay, so we're going to get rid of these things in the opposite order and doing the opposite thing. So we're going to subtract 7 on both sides, and we're left with radical A plus 5 equals 5. Okay, so you got rid of this. Then you got to get rid of the radical. So you're going to square. You're left with A plus 5 equals 25. Okay, then you're going to, so you got rid of this. Now you got to get rid of the minus 5 here, the plus 5. So you're going to subtract 5, and A equals 20. Okay, let's start over there now. Same thing. So we have to leave K by itself. So K is being squared. K is adding with 1, and then the square root or radical. So we got to get rid of the radical first. So we're going to square both sides. Square, you're left with K plus 1. Now, K minus 1 times itself. Okay, that's what square means. K minus 1 is actually going to be K times K. K times 1 is going to happen, and then negative 1 times K is going to happen. So it's going to leave negative 2K once you combine like terms. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Okay? If you don't know what I did, do the long process and see that I combined the like terms instead. Then, well, K squared right here. Okay. Then, seeing as though we're not going to be removing the square, we're going to just shift everything over. So, we're getting rid of everything on the left because we're not going to be getting rid of this. So, minus K and minus 1. So, minus K and minus 1. So now we're left with 0 equals K squared minus 3K, and then nothing there. So again, this is going to end up with 2 answers. It's a quadratic equation here. Okay, so it's quadratic, which means we're going to end up with 2 answers. So we're going to simplify this. Everything here has K in it, so we're going to divide K out. So K minus 3 equals 0. So K is 0, this equals 0. So K equals 0 is one of the solutions. Then if K is 3, this is going to be 0. So K equals 3 is one of the solutions. Okay, you could have also used the quadratic formula to solve this as well. You would have gotten the same result. All right, we're shifting over. Now we're dealing with graphing. So graphing rational functions. So when you have x in the denominator, there are numbers that are excluded. So you cannot have, the denominator cannot be 0. Okay, that's not allowed. So this can't equal 0. So x plus 1 cannot equal 0. So x is not allowed to be negative 1. Okay, and seeing as though this fraction will never be 0, y will also never equal 0. Okay, so you walk over here, and these are going to be the 2 asymptotes. Okay, so asymptotes are going to be the numbers it cannot cross. So x equals negative 1, which is right here. So it's never going to cross here. Yes, it's a dotted line because it's not the graph line. This is where it can't touch. Y equals 0. So going through 0 means I'm just going to go through here. That's y equals 0. So the graph is going to look something like this. Okay, so I'm going to erase this so that I can use this graph for my other example over here. So here, remember, the denominator cannot be 0. So this cannot be 0. That's going to be an easy one. X cannot be 0. Okay, that's the excluded value. And the asymptotes are going to be, so if this can never be 0, then this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. 0 minus 4 is never going to occur. So y is never going to equal -4. Okay? So it's not going to equal -4. So x equals 0. Let's go through here. And y equals -4, that's here. So those are my excluded values. So it's going to look something like this with a little turn and this right here. And that's correct. Change, shift over, shift over. Here's this one. Now when you have a fraction equaling a fraction, the easiest way to do this is cross multiply. So 3 times x makes 3x, and that's going to equal whatever this one times that one is. 2 times all of this. It's going to be 2x plus 10. All right, now we just have to leave x by itself. If I move this over here, I'm going to have to move it back. So we're going to leave this side the number and this side the x. So minus 2x would be our next step. Minus 2x. Now we're left with x equals 10. We're done. Pretty easy problem. It gets slightly more difficult than that, so keep on paying attention. Here we go. So this one here, same thing. I see 2 fractions. What I'm going to do to solve it is cross multiply. Cross multiply here. I'm going to get 4y plus 4 equals 5y squared. Okay, so seeing as though I have 5y squared on this side, and there's no way I'm getting rid of it, I'm just going to shift everything to that side and leave this 0. So minus 4y minus 4, shifting to the right, and we're going to be left with 0 equals 5y squared minus, did I do this right? Yep, I did do it right. 5y squared minus 4y minus 4. Okay, so if you were to solve this, you could use the quadratic formula. Let's see if it has a shortcut method. 5 times -4 is going to be 20. 5 times 4 is 20. What 2 numbers multiply to make 20? But when you put them together, they make 4. It could be, no, it can't be 10 and 2. 4 and 5, no, that wouldn't make that. Nope. So this is I'm gonna use the quadratic formula to solve this. So it's gonna be -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So b is going to be -4, so 4 goes there, plus or minus the square root of 16 minus or plus 80 divided by 2a by 2a, which is 10. Right? So let me just make sure I did that. Minus 4a, so minus 4 times a is -20, times c is going to be +80. Okay, yeah. So 4 plus or minus the square root of 96 divided by 10. The square root of 96, let's see if I have it here. 96 square rooted is going to be 9.8 if I round to the 10. So this is going to be 4 plus 9.8 and 4 minus 9.8. So 4 plus 9.8 is going to be 13.8. 13.8 divided by 10 is 1.38 is one of the solutions. And then if I do minus, 4 minus 9.8 is going to leave me with -5.8, and -5.8 divided by 10 is -0.58. So those are my 2 solutions for this one. So this is one where the solution wasn't obvious. So I might have written that one down, but wrong, but that was interesting to do that one with you. Okay, so then this one. Yeah. So then this one was our next one. So here the denominators are the same. If they weren't the same, then I would have to do what my students call the scissor multiplying to fix it. But right now, that is not the issue. I feel like I missed something on that question. I did miss something on that question. All right. So here the denominators are the same. So we can add the top. So the top is going to be 2n plus 4n, which is 6n, minus 30 divided by n minus 5 equals 5. So here there's a fraction equals something else. Let's make a fraction equals a fraction, so we can cross multiply. 6n minus 30 equals 5n minus 25. So now we are going to subtract minus 5n on both sides. We're left with n minus 30 equals negative 25. Then we are going to add 30 on both sides. N equals 5. And that's it. This one was very simple, actually, which means I want to do the more difficult version of this, which is what I'm going to do right now. So this problem was this. Plus this equals 5. Okay, so here we are going to multiply this. So the denominator is not the same. It has to be the same before you can add the top. So what you're going to do is multiply this with that and get 4y plus 4. Then you're going to multiply, and then you're going to add with whatever this times that is, which is 5y squared. And the bottom is going to have to be this times this, which gives me y squared plus y. And now this equals 5. Again, 5 over 1 will cross multiply. I'm going to fix the order. So 1 times this will leave me with 5y squared plus 4y plus 4 equals y squared, 5y squared, times 5y plus 5y. So it looks long for a second, but 5y squared minus 5y squared leaves me with 0. So now I'm back with just 4y plus 4 equals 5y. Subtract 4y from both sides. Subtract 4y. So I canceled this and this and that first one. I subtracted. So minus 4y minus 4y, 4 equals 5. We're done.